Hello. All right, so today I want to elaborate a little bit more on some concepts here about gunfighting and fighting zombies. Zombies. All right, so I this is based off of my experience, my knowledge, my training. So just know it's not the end all be all. I'm sure there's people out there that probably disagree with me or have slight variations of this, but these are just my thoughts. So keep that in mind. When it comes to gunfighting, all right, if you're doing it for defensive purposes, then that should be at the forefront of your capability. Like, you want to have the capability to fight defensively. If you want, and there's a difference in fighting defensively individually versus fighting it defensively in a group, and then vice versa. Fighting offensively individually, probably not gonna work for you, because Rambos don't actually exist on a battlefield where one man goes out there and kills everybody. That doesn't usually happen. They usually just get killed. Or fighting offensively in a group. So I'm going to explain some concepts here. First of all, the most important thing in a gunfight is the how much firepower you can put on the enemy, and you want to generally be putting out more firepower than the enemy can put down on you, the zombies. So that you can effectively suppress the enemy. Suppress meaning you are obstructing or infringing their ability to effectively shoot at you, that you can pin them in a location so that it's not easy for them to maneuver, both maneuver on you, or if you want to maneuver on them, you keep them in place. And the key to being able to do that is it takes time to build up that base of fire and then maneuver. So let's say that you're in, say, a 10-minute gunfight. All right. If I have 5 people and we're going against a group of 3 people or 3 zombies, and we're trying to take out these zombies, and these zombies are armed. If they are fighting defensively, numerically, they have an advantage, right? However, we could still put out more fire than them, right? The best way to be able to put out more fire than them, though, is to standardize our weapon systems and our ammo. So I have noticed in my interactions and training people for these types of things, on the civilian side, the military doesn't have to worry about this because everything is already standardized in the military, and for good reason. But on the civilian side, there's groups of people that will get together and they will train, and they will be in their group. And in that group of people, say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they'll have multiple different calibers and different weapon systems that they're going to use. Now, that's better than nothing. Like, having more people armed and trained is good. However, you're not fighting individually in that capacity. You're fighting as a team, right? So being able to cross-load ammo from one to another, to maintain that fire over a period of time, and in the event that you have a malfunction on your weapon system, you can pick up any one of those weapon systems within the group and still be able to utilize it. That's going to give you staying power, okay? Also, different weapon systems are better for different things. Here's an example. This is an old Chinese SKS rifle. I love this rifle. It's a great rifle. I've had it probably since I was about 12 years old, right? It didn't look like this when I got it at 12, but I've modified it over time. When I first got it, it had the standard attached 10-round stripper clip capacity, where you would literally put a stripper clip up here in these feed libs, push it down in there, rack the bolt forward, you got 10 rounds. Now I have since removed that upgraded to this so I can have more ammunition per reload, right? So this is a 30 round magazine. But understand, this is not fast or easy, right? So in my group, if I have a group of people and we all decided as a group, hey, we're going to go with SKSs. This would be more feasible 15 years ago when SKSs were going for $200 a pop, but that's either here. A lot of people have SKSs. 7.62 by 39 ammo is good ammo, and it's still fairly cheap. And you know, it's a semi-automatic rifle, right? So you can carry a lot of this ammo, and it's effective for engagement ranges. But understand, it's gonna take me longer to put this weapon back in action after a reload than say an AK platform or an AR platform. And this is just this one. Some are better than others. Some have modified SKSs where you can use AK mags. That's great. That's fine. But it's still slower. All right. So for me, like, to reload this weapon system, that bolt's got to be open, right? So if it does that and I'm out of ammo and I check, oh crap, I'm out of ammo. In order for me to take this magazine out quickly, I got to open up the bolt, keep the bolt open, and then do kind of the AK thing where I put the end of it in there, but I also got to pull that down. Oops, it wasn't centered. See what I mean? To seat it in position, all right? Now, that wasn't easy. I've had this thing for a long time, and it still requires me to do that. Imagine I'm laying down under fire. I'm fiddling with this thing, and I rack that bolt. Now, once it's in the fight, it's good. I can't miss with this thing. I love this rifle. I'll never get rid of this rifle because with open sights, I mean, I used to have optics on here, and I removed them because I actually shoot better without optics with this thing than I do with optics. All right, but keeping this thing in the fight quickly so I can cover my buddy, it's just harder to do, all right? And then if I want to unload it, I got to come back down here, got to pull that out. Notice on the mag, does that look like something that's going to easily go into a magazine pouch? With that right there? No, probably not. Probably going to have to take this. I only got 3 of these mags. I'm going to have to carry a bag, a satchel or something, and put them in a satchel and reach in there and grab them. And they're going to be flopping around and making all kinds. It's not ideal. All right. It's better than nothing. It's better than most in a lot of circumstances. But there are better options out there. Like this. Or an AK platform, right? This is designed for the shooter. When they designed the AR platform, they designed it to be a soldier's weapon. I'm not talking about the performances of the M16 series back in the 1960s when they were having troubles with it. They've largely fixed most of those problems, and this is reliable enough, okay? It's not as reliable as an AK. It's never going to be as reliable as an AK, but this is a soldier's weapon. I can do everything. I never have to leave my hand from the pistol grip here, and I can action this weapon system. Even if the bolt's closed, for me to reload, it's literally just a matter of, right? Let's say I've actually got a magazine on my hip. I can easily stow that. I can put that in a pocket. I got all kinds of ammo pouches that carry these things, right? So if I'm going there, oh, I'm out, boom, come back. I'm back in the fight. Way faster. All right, way faster. Now, do I lose something with the size of that round? Yeah, sure, I do. I mean, I got about 45, 50 grains difference in weight between that round and that round, but remember, in a gunfight, in order for you to effectively take out the enemy without getting killed, or to lower your chances of getting killed, you have to suppress the enemy. I can carry even more ammo with this. I can keep my weapon in the fight faster and longer. And in the event that I find myself in a blunder combat, like, oh crap, like we're doing the little fumble movie thing where we're both out of ammo at the same time, in the event that that happens, I can quickly put this thing back in the fight, and much faster than most other weapon systems. AK platform, it's not that much different. You really just rock it in there like you would do. You do this motion like that, turn it on its side, boom, you're back in the fight. The good thing about this platform is I can do it all from this side. So if the bolt's blocked to the rear, I hit that bolt release, I'm good to go. If I'm doing a tactical reload, there's already a round in the chamber. The only thing I got to do to make sure on is making sure that I seat that magazine well when I load it. Because with the bolt forward and ammo in the magazine, it takes a little bit more pressure. All right, let me demonstrate. So if I go in there, boom, like that, it's not gonna stay. I gotta really push that in there. And I may do that, and I may even go like this, right? I think I'm good. And I got a round in the chamber because I've done a tactical reload, and I fire that weapon, and when that bolt actions, let me see if I can do this. That's exactly what's gonna happen. That bolt's gonna action, and you're gonna lose your magazine, right? So this brings me to my next thing to talk about. While you're doing your dry fire drills, and you're working in your workspace on your drills and stuff like that, if you're using empty magazines to build up your speed on your weapons, that's fine. I mean, your magazine's gonna be low anyways. And you probably don't want to shoot a hole in your wall or your ceiling or your floor or something like that by accident. It's just smart, right? Understand though, an empty magazine is going to feed into your weapon system much easier with a lot less force than a magazine that's loaded. Okay? So understand that, right? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to create training scars. Those can become training scars, right? You may have all your fundamentals down, it may feed well, and then you're topping off your ammo, you put it in there, and you're in the heat of the fight, right? And your body's going to do what it's trained to do. And if you're only reloading on your tactical and emergency reloads with empty magazines, well, then you may find yourself in a situation where you don't seat that magazine well enough, and then you fire that weapon and that magazine drops, right? Now, on an emergency reload, if you don't know the difference, a tactical reload means that I'm topping off my magazine. That means that the magazine that I'm using is not empty, right? Which means that the bolt is forward, I still have a round inside the magazine. Okay. Generally, that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you don't want to run empty if you can help it. Okay. So that means you got to be monitoring your fire rate. When I was in the service, I didn't use a lot of tracers, but the fifth to the last round of my magazine, I made a tracer. Right? Tracers work both ways. They're great for spotting. They're great for, seeing when your rounds are impacting, if you're shooting at range, right? Or see where they're going. They're great for spotting. So like I had a magazine of just nothing but tracers when I was an officer, so that if I needed direct fires, I could pop that bad boy in there and go, follow my tracers, boom, 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 because my job is to coordinate those fires. But tracers work both ways. You can see the tracer, but so can the bad guys. They can see the origin of where the tracers are. So I would use the tracers to help me. Fifth to last round in my magazine was a tracer. So I knew I was running low on ammo. That means that I still got 4 rounds. So I can defend myself between what I'm doing and if I need to get to cover, right? I get to cover and then I top off. The bolt's forward, I top off, make sure it's seated well. I literally just change out the magazine and go back into the fight. If I find myself with an emergency reload though, it means I'm empty. The bolt should lock back to the rear. It doesn't always do that. Understand that. So you got to work with your gear. Some weapon systems, AR platforms, this is specific to an AR platform. It's designed for the bolt to lock to the rear when you're out of ammo on that magazine, right? So that you can easily just feed another magazine in there, hit your bolt release, and then go back into the fight, right? And notice, this is an empty magazine. When I pull it to the rear, it should lock to the rear. All right, good, awesome, right? So if you're practicing your emergency reloads on an empty magazine, it's not gonna matter that much because this will actually feed much more consistently. Same pressure. I literally just went boom. It's good, right? Same exact pressure, bolt forward. It didn't feed, or it didn't lock. All right, so understand that, all right? Don't be training scarring into your methods, all right? If you're training in a group, I would highly suggest that you at the very least standardize your ammo, all right? That way you can cross-load ammo between your team members. Remember, you're fighting as a unit against these zombies. You're fighting as a group, right? You want to be able to, like, if I'm spread out and I've got 5 people spread out, the enemy may be over here and I may be maneuvering with the side that's not heavily engaged. But the side that's heavily engaged is probably going to put out more ammo, right? So at the conclusion of that fight, it's very, very realistic to expect that some members within your group will have fired a lot more ammo than other members. Some members of your group may not have fired a round at all, right? So it's just a lot easier to grab a couple of these, like, hey, I got 7 magazines. This guy over here has only got 2. Here, take 2 of my magazines. All right? I've still got 5 magazines. They got 3 magazines. But they can actually provide fire. They can actually suppress the enemy in the event that they need to. They got enough to get by until we can get to a resupply point. All right? Another thing. We're fighting these zombies, and they're using weapon systems. And generally, those zombie weapon systems are going to be AR 5.56 type calibers, and we're victorious on that zombie battlefield, and I need to resupply. I'm going to take it off these zombies that we've taken out. Man, sure would be convenient to be able to just grab their magazines and put them in my gear, and we're good to go, right? As opposed to, yeah, I like this. I've had it a long time. It's got good sentimental value, but unless I change out my weapon system altogether, there's almost no chance when I'm fighting these zombies that they're going to be utilizing the same weapon systems as this one. Even AKs, chances are, while the AK system is better than the SKS platform, and again, I like that 7.62x39. I really like that round. However, for the long run, in that zombie apocalypse, when you're having to do engagements over periods of time and you don't have a consistent supply network, you know, whoever you're going to be engaging is very likely going to be equipped. The zombies equip themselves with these, generally. Not with AKs. Not with 7.62x39. Not with SKSs. Not with, you know, HKs. Which those if the system can take an AR-15, M4, M16 magazine, that was probably going to be better. Granted, 5.56 is not an awesome round, all right? It's a good enough round. It's not designed to be a one-shot, one-kill. If you can get a one-shot, one-kill, great. But I can carry way more of it. I can stay in the fight longer. I can suppress longer. I can suppress better, right? It's can reach out and touch somebody out to 300 meters consistently, which are going to be about your engagement distances. And they've got all sorts of variations that you can do to customize it. So like this here, this is a 10.5 AR pistol, right? This is great for urban operations and working out of a vehicle, right? So this is great for that, right? And I can, you know, index it, make sure I'm not flagging anything like that as I'm moving. I can get around corners really well. I can pull it out of a vehicle and punch it through a windshield. I don't have a whole bunch of extra barrel coming out of it in those close engagement ranges. It's great for that. However, if I'm out in the field and I'm engaging at 300 meters, 400 meters, well, this isn't ideal for that. But this one's definitely better, and really the only difference is the length of the barrel, right? So fundamentally, they're the same weapon system. I just have a 16-inch barrel on this one, all right? And that means that it's going to be a lot more forgiving and allow me to be more accurate over range. But I don't have to change anything but the rifle. All my kit, all my setup, my mags, my battle belt, my armor, all that stuff. I don't change anything out. I can use all the same magazines. The parts are interchangeable. They function the same. And I'm good to go, right? I don't have to do anything other than change it out, right? And then I can go even longer than this and bring it out to a 20-inch barrel. And then, I'm getting good, like 3,300 feet per second muzzle velocity at the barrel. Easily engaging 300 meters or more, and it's a little 62 grain, 55 to 62 grain round, but my shot placement's good. I'm going to be able to take out all those zombies. I'm going to be able to take them out, but I can sustain my suppressive fires long enough to either close with, outmaneuver, and then kill those zombies, or I can put up a wall of fire to create space between me and the enemy and stand off and then break contact. All right, so just a couple things. If you guys got any questions, please feel free to ask. I can go into more detail if you'd like, but I just wanted to cover a couple of things about some ideas that I have about within your group training for this zombie apocalypse. The logistics of your systems are gonna start getting taxed after the first couple of engagements. So I think this will help you stay in the fight longer if you start standardizing things. With that being said, that's all I got for today. I'll make another video after this one. I'll probably post it about the same time as this, talking about something else. Outside of that, you guys have a great day. Stay frosty. Merry Christmas.